Wanted to do a short video today on what some people think is a translation problem in Genesis 1, and it has to do with the idea of the translation of the term um, day one, the second day, the third day. And I did this little document to kind of help us look at it, and I think I'll just take myself out there. In Hebrew, um, this Yom Ehad in 1:5 is strange. You, you might think, well, why isn't it the first day? And in fact, that's how at least the older version of the ESV translated it. The New American Standard 1995 update does day one, and the Jewish Publication Society does a first day. Now, what's really interesting about that is, and we're going to do another video on Yom Ehad and kind of the history of interpretation, ancient, medieval, modern, both Jewish, Christian, liberal, conservative. We'll do that another day. But when you get to this translation and it's reflected in the Septuagint, you really do have a second day, a third day, a fourth day, a fifth day. And that wouldn't be problematic at all until you get to the sixth day. And if you can tell, the word six has the definite article there, and then three times for the seventh day on the, that's what the patah is, on the day, the seventh one, on the day, the seventh one, the seventh, and you can see reflected in the Septuagint, you do have the definite article for the seventh day, and you might have picked up there's actually a textual variant. The MT reads the seventh day, and the Septuagint does the sixth day. And when we look at how people have dealt with that issue, at least as far back as I could find the Midrash Rabbah, they're looking at this idea of why it's day one, and we'll talk about that on another day, but they're asking the question, why isn't it the first day, the second, etc. Mikroth Gedaloth, at least the Karasik version of it, says of the phrase a second day, that the Masorah marks this as a unique phrase. And Vern Poythress, in his 2015 article, and I think the title there is Correlations with Providence in Genesis 1, that's Westminster Theological Journal. Poythress has this note: a more literal translation would have one day, a second day, a third day, a fourth day, a fifth day, the sixth day. And then he cites Waltke, who used that to argue that it's for a shuffling of chronology, and I think that refers to this work, Waltke and Fredericks. And if you look at that work, the footnotes are going to cite this Throntveit, or the events in the Genesis account set forth in chronological order, and his argument is no, and largely has to do with the omission of the definite article. And Walke also cites this Sturchy. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing his name. A 1996 article, Does Genesis 1 Provide Chronological Sequence? Others have delved into the evidence, but I wonder if, rather than looking at the secondary literature, I wonder if we just might ask a few questions. And one might be, where else does Yom Ehad appear? And we'll, as I said, look next time, but all the way back to Rashi, you have people wanting to translate that the day of the one rather than one day. And where else does it appear? Well, and we'll look at it in the next video, it does appear in the sense of a day. If Jacob says, if I drive the flock for Yom Ehad, they'll all die. So clearly the text can mean a day. And you could come and say there was evening and there was morning, a day. You could translate it that. But it could be that you look at the use of Yom Ehad in that strange chapter in Zechariah 14 where most commentators are baffled because it looks like all of human history is being bound up in, if Rashi's suggestion, day of the one, you might ask the question, well, is Yom Ehad somehow related to the Lord's Day? And is Zechariah 14 this eschatological day that has neither morning or evening? But we'll look at that in another video. But if you were just reading and you noticed, and I wonder if one day the English translation will actually reflect this better, day one, a second day, a third day, a fourth day. And if you notice, the New American Standard actually does that. The ESV doesn't, but the New American Standard and it looks like the NET and the New English translation of the Septuagint all do it a second day, a third day, a fourth day, a fifth day. But the sixth day, at least all the translations I looked at it, do it that way. And clearly you can see that is a definite article with a doubling dagesh. And I looked up to see if Aquila, Symmachus, and Theodotion do that as well. And there's last year's class looking at the Torah scroll that was given to Bryan College by a great benefactor, anonymous benefactor. What a delight to take a scroll hundreds of years old and to read unpointed Hebrew. You can see how joyous the students are. What a great day. If we go to Origen's Hexapla, if we are trying to get at, I think, this idea, I think did I get rid of the document? What is Aquila, Symmachus, and Theodotion? Well, here's where you have to go. Very old text by Frederick Field, and it's not the easiest thing in the world to use. But when you go, on the day, so you get the here in the seventh. So it says the Septuagint says that, and then hoi loipoi, the rest, I'm taking as Aquila, Symmachus, and Theodotion. And then it has a footnote that the Septuagint's reading on the sixth day, and I suppose that's a theological correction, trying to make it clear that God wasn't doing any work on the seventh day, but I think that footnote is Jerome saying the Hebrew really does read the seventh. There is another edition of Origen's Hexapla by, and I'm probably not saying this man's name right, but Montfaucon, and you can have access to this on internet or archive.com. And I did not know this, but at least for chapter 1, Montfaucon actually has the hexapla in what would have been the original 6 columns. So you've got the Hebrew, and then the Hebrew in written in Greek letters, Aquila, Symmachus, the 70, and then Theodotion. And when you come here, you see a second day. It's a little hard to read the Greek there as being used with ligatures, if that's the right word, but I think there came about morning, hemera deutera, and you can see that that's what the Hebrew is reading, and the same thing for Symmachus, and the same thing for the Septuagint. We already saw that, and then same thing for Theodotion. So they're all doing it without the definite article. And then when we look at, is it verse 13? You see the third day, Aquila, Symmachus is, a third day. You see there's no definite article, a third day, and Theodotion, a third day. And you come to the fourth day, there's no definite article in the Hebrew. There's none in Origen's, spelling that out in Greek letters. A fourth day. And you can see, I guess Symmachus is lacking there. A fourth day, and Theodotion is lacking. And then when we come to the fifth day, so it's a fifth day, Aquila and Symmachus and Theodotion are lacking. The Septuagint, as we already saw, a fifth day. And then we come to the sixth day, day the sixth one. So clearly you can see, as we saw in B19a, that you have a the. But notice you also have it in Origen's phonetic spelling, Assisi. So I think he's doing that Assisi, maybe rough breathing. And then you have Aquila, but notice Aquila doesn't do the sixth day. Neither does Symmachus. He just does sixth day. The Septuagint we've already seen, and Theodotion, he doesn't do the sixth day. So we come to the text, and you can see there's a problem, and what do you do with it? So a lot of people who are diving into the question of science in Genesis 1, of course, are seeing the unusual nature there and want to say, well, this, somehow proves that these days aren't meant in chronological order. I'm not convinced of that argument. It seems relatively weak, but go look at the works for yourself. They're cited by Waltke, and an excellent article by Vern Poythress. So go look at that. But I just might ask that if you do take the point that this is a canonical text, why might it call this the sixth day? Well, the initial response, well, it's the day man was created, and so you have the pinnacle of creation, and I think that's certainly true. But my background is more the Christological, Christocentric approach, the New Testament writers. And I wonder if the New Testament writers might find a reason why it's called the sixth day. Did anything else in Scripture happen on the sixth day? And you might go to the unusual dates in, say, Noah's account, and particular days are being given, and it makes emphasis on the 17th day of the seventh month. And it's interesting, go to Mikroth Gedaloth, and you can see how people are thinking through the whole flipped calendar, and maybe that having something to do with Passover, and a few days after Passover, and 7 days after the lamb was taken in. And you might ask yourself the question, did anything else happen in the Bible on those days? You have day one with the creation of light. You have, what day of the week would that have been? You have first fruits given on the day after the Sabbath following Passover. What day of the week would that have been? 50 full days later, the giving of the law at Mount Sinai, the Feast of Weeks. What day would that have been? And I wonder if, rather than letting the kind of modern narrative over science in the Bible govern what we say about this text, what would happen if we let the Bible govern what we say about it? Is there a reason why the sixth day is emphasized? Is there a reason why the cool of the day? Is that the future anniversary of anything else in Scripture? And why 3 times do you have the seventh day? And why does the seventh day not have there was evening and there was morning, day 7? All the other days have that. Why is day 2 a second day? Why doesn't it call that day good? And is that picked up anywhere in the New Testament? Well, listen, as always, I'll be interested to interact with comments. I pray that God would continue to bless you as your journey to understand this glorious text better. And as always, I'll look forward to talking with you again next time.